I'm going to talk about how to use TrainingPeaks Coach Edition. I've been using TrainingPeaks for years now, and it's really been useful for helping me help athletes achieve their goals. I'm a huge believer in how effective the program is, and we're just going to start from step one. It's going to go all over the place because there's a lot to review. I'm going to try to keep the video somewhat short, but also very descriptive because I want to give you guys a good idea of how to use TrainingPeaks. Now, this is a coach edition since I have my own team of athletes, but this is very similar to an athlete edition, just with a few less features. So as we can see here, we are on the login page. I'm going to go ahead and log on. Now, this first page that we see is going to be considered the home page. And as you can see, I have my list of athletes, and it's still loading. And this gives me a great idea of what athletes have done what. Green means they've completed the workout perfectly, and we can get a deeper view in that once we go to the workout to see if it really was perfect. But usually, as far as duration or TSS, training stress score, whatever the parameters are that you require to cause that workout to turn green or to complete is why that's going to turn green. Yellow workouts mean that it's usually completed within 10% of the given metric in which you establish your completed, your completed standards. So red means they either missed the workout or they weren't even close to completing what you had prescribed. So this gives you really good insight. As you can see, this side right here is everything that they did the week prior. Everything here is everything the week ahead. So right here, for example, this athlete, he is missed several days. He just had a newborn child about 5 days ago, and there's this indication that the athlete has recorded one negative metric. We can go over here and see that he's not feeling too good. He's not getting very much sleep. Anyone with a newborn baby knows how that is. Then we have, we can go over the workouts and look at different comments. And then this here is 224 unread comments. You see there's a bell right here, and it also says it right here. Now, 190 comments for me, since I have, this is just a few of my athletes. I do have about 15 other athletes through a different group that I do coach as well. But 190 notifications can come quickly. You can click on there and you can see whether or not it was just a completed workout notification or whether or not the athlete commented on the workout. So this is your home screen, and you can actually adjust the home screen a bit. And for example, I can hit this little arrow right here, and this is going to give me a drop down. Now, this is what we call basically a small PMC chart. We call it ramp rates. And one thing, the amazing thing about TrainingPeaks is before TrainingPeaks, there was no way of telling how fit you were with a number. You just had to say, okay, I feel more fit, I look more fit, but now there's actually numbers to go behind your fitness. With your watch nowadays, my watch is upstairs, but there's so many different metrics that are recorded, such as temperature, heart rate, power. There's an accelerometer in the watches. There's different ways to measure exactly what you're doing. And there's ways you can combine that information to create very accurate data charts. So the last 7 days, this athlete's fitness had gone up. The last 28 days, the athlete's fitness had gone up. Last 90 days, and then last 365 days. Next. So we were just on home screen. Now we're going to go up to calendar. Now I'm going to click on calendar. Now here I have the week that we're currently in of all my athletes' workouts. And you see, since it's Wednesday right now, the athletes who have completed the workouts, obviously they're green. This athlete here completed, I had the workout scheduled for 30 minutes, it only took him 20 minutes. I can actually change that to 20. And what that's going to do is it's going to change the workout green. And for example, if we had, let's say this recovery swim I had scheduled for 5 minutes, it's going to turn orange. It turns orange when the athlete completes a small part of the workout, but it's nowhere near to the duration that you had prescribed. And you can prescribe it to change different colors based on how many calories they burned, their TSS, and average pace distance, or in my case, duration. So 15, let's say if I were to put in 12 minutes, it might turn yellow. Yellow means they were very close to the target metric which you wanted them to complete. And in this case, the athlete did 15, so they went over the duration that I recommended. So let's go ahead and change that back to 15. So that's really nice because it gives you a great screenshot of what's going on with all of my different athletes. For example, this athlete, for swimming, it's a little bit more difficult. I planned that for 30 minutes, but he's a faster swimmer. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to 15. And that's going to change that green. And here he foam rolled for 15 minutes total. I had scheduled 10, so I'm going to go ahead and change that to 15 because 15 minutes is close enough to 10 minutes. And we can literally go to any workout we want and take a deeper look into it. I'm going to take a stop on Andrews. He's actually going through a very hard week. As you can see over here, he's about 18 hours total training volume. And he actually won an Olympic distance race, his first overall win. And I've been coaching him for 18 months. So his first overall win. And now he's barely recovered and we're having him do another heavy week. He has a ton of fitness. We're sort of in the balance of pushing that last little bit of training in what we call a build phase because his primary race is going to be an A race 70.3 in the near future. But if I wanted to take a look at this workout, for example, as you can see, I have 5x5 riding uphill, switching from a seated and standing up position. Now, staying in the big chain ring is very important, yada, yada, yada. So I actually created the workout through a workout builder. Now, you can actually click any one of these. For example, if I wanted to add a really easy cool down free spin, I can go click here, and that just popped up over here, and that's going to come down to here, and 40 to 50% of FTP. If I wanted to have it basically have no resistance at all, I'd put 15 to, let's say, 25% of FTP, which for him is going to be anywhere from 48 to 80 watts. And yeah, so this workout builder is just really cool. You can create these workouts for any of your athletes, and they can sync these workouts to their Wahoo trainer, or if you do it for running, they can sync it to their Garmin so that they don't have to memorize the intervals. It just comes up right there on their watch and beeps when they're supposed to hit a hard effort or go into recovery, so on and so forth. So that's great. We call that the workout builder, and you can create the workout whether it's a range of power or whether it's an exact target of power. So that's the difference here. You could reset the workout. If you wanted to go based on rate of perceived exertion, for example, the athlete doesn't have a power meter, you can absolutely do that. And you have these other options, percentage of max heart rate, percentage threshold of heart rate, threshold speed. So there's a lot of different options to play around with. So the athlete obviously had completed this workout yesterday, so let's go ahead and take a deeper look into his workout. So once I hit summary, I have all these pre-programmed graphs. I can actually put another graph there if I wanted to. For example, I could put in what we call a scatter graph, for example, and this is going to tell me on his it loaded and switched screens. It's going to tell me on his x-axis that it is heart rate here. And then on the y-axis is his cadence. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you start looking at it day after day, you're going to start to see trends. One of my favorites here is going to be the wattage graph. And also, I can highlight certain segments of the workout, and I can see for his first interval, if we go over here, he averaged 294 watts for this first interval. I always train my athletes to do a negative split with their intervals, and I can check and see if he had a negative split, and his last interval was about 310 watts. There's a lot of different things you can do with these graphs. I see here that he spent most of his time in a recovery zone, but he did push fairly hard in some of those higher zones. But he's a very strong athlete, so those higher efforts, he actually only got up to a heart rate zone 3. So that can tell me things like I'm ready to bump up his threshold, or during his next threshold test, he's going to produce even more wattage than what it was last set. And for this athlete, I think our last threshold test before his race was about 5 weeks prior, and I do know I need to adjust his threshold. So that's how you look at individual workouts. Of course, every workout is going to have their own style of graphs depending on what sport it is and how you like to analyze that data. But the calendar view gives an up-close and personal view to the athlete's workouts, the color, the different types of workouts, and so on and so forth. Next, we have the dashboard. The dashboard is a screen dedicated only to metrics. And for example, I am going to go into my athlete Andrew, since we were just looking at his data before, and we have a huge screen full of all his metrics. So as a coach or as an athlete, you can go into your screen or your athlete's screen and you can take a look at everything you want to see to give you and paint a picture that's going to help you plan future training, or to eliminate possible injuries, or to prevent overtraining, or to find certain trends that you can adapt and to hopefully further your training in the future. One of my favorite graphs, like I was saying before, is this PMC chart. This is one that I plug into the the dashboard of all my athletes, and essentially this blue line represents fitness. Or in TrainingPeaks we call it chronic training load. The pink line is ATL, which stands for acute training load, and the yellow line here is training stress balance. In layman's terms, essentially you can think of it like the blue line, chronic training load, is going to be your current level of fitness. The pink line is going to be like your fatigue, how tired you are, how susceptible you are to injury potentially. And then, conversely, the training stress balance, TSB, is going to be what form you're in. So the lower it is, the less form you're going to be in. So if I were to ask you, where do you want to race? Many athletes or many people just getting used to TrainingPeaks is going to say, right around here, when I'm most fit. Well, do you want to race or do a marathon or 10K or whatever your sport is when you're done with the heaviest amount of training? Probably not. Because notice, when this athlete is most fit, that they are also most fatigued. So, meaning, they're probably going to want to race right around here, where their fitness has gone down a little bit, but their training TSB, the training stress balance, has equalized a little bit, meaning they've come into form and their fatigue has dropped significantly. So it's always a balance between those metrics. For example, here, let's take a look here. And you can actually click on that athlete's workout, and this athlete looks like he did not, I remember this race, it was the Gulf Coast 70.3. He didn't start his watch at the right time. He started it late, and then also he wasn't able to, didn't remember to hit the transition button. So the only real data that we got out of this was his cycling workout. And you can click on any one of these workouts or any one of these dots, and it's going to tell you what the athlete did that day. The higher the dot, the more TSB, or the higher training stress score was given to that workout. And training stress score is basically established by how hard the workout is and how talented the athlete is, so on and so forth. And it uses prior stress from the prior days and weeks to help calculate what the stress is, because a really hard workout a day after another hard workout is going to have a higher training stress score than an easy workout with a rest the day before, if that makes sense. So, moving on, we have ATP, Annual Training Plan. Now that we've been talking about my athlete Andrew, we'll go ahead and stick with him. Like I said before, he's training for a 70.3, and now these shaded blocks here are just pre-programmed workouts, or basically pre-programmed suggested volume based on the software's recommendations of what you put in. And you can create one of those pre-programmed annual training plans on your own by clicking the time frames here. You can name it anything you want, the weekly average that you want the athlete to have, and all their races. And then you go ahead and hit save, and it gives you a recommended periodized program to follow. Now, I've been in the business long enough to where I don't necessarily follow the recommended periodized program because of a lot of different metrics and how the athlete responds in their races and just real life in general. But it is a good reference point to help athletes understand and help coaches figure out where the athlete is in their season. But for me, for example, I'm going to give him another heavy week after three heavier weeks. So he's going to have one of his biggest weeks here. And the next week where it says they suggest 13 hours, I'm going to give him a much easier week to rest and test, which is probably going to be only about 8 hours of volume and X amount of TSS. So this is a great reference for anyone who wants to build out their program. We have base 1, base 2, base 3, build 1, build 2, peak, taper, which isn't in here, race, and then a transition or off season. Each one of those has certain things that you're supposed to be doing. But this is more a video for me to tell you how TrainingPeaks is. Now I'm getting into how to coach. But so we also have, if we go back to calendar is the only way you can access your different training plans. So I have a whole list of different training plans here. For example, if I were to open up this workout here, it looks like there it is. So I can even open up a training plan and work on a training plan separately. And if, for example, you wanted to sell that training plan, you can even go in here into settings, publish plan, and then go ahead and create the price that you want to, and then have basically coupon codes. If you wanted this training plan, just use one of these coupon codes. There you go, for 50% off, now that you can see it. So one of the things I love about TrainingPeaks is you can create programs within the software and then sell the training plans just with a couple clicks of the buttons. So, of course, TrainingPeaks takes, I believe, 15% commission, but it does give you the opportunity to put it in your own store, which I can go back and check out. So you can put in your own store, so once they go to the website, it gives you your own section to sell your training plans. Like, this is my own custom page with all the training plans that I like to sell that are, really fine-tuned, and I feel comfortable with selling them, and based on comparable plans that are also in the database listings. I feel comfortable about the prices, and I've been selling those, and it's been a lot of fun and very successful for me. Now, if we were to go into here, you can have a library of workouts that you use a lot that you can basically adapt around yourself or other athletes. And then we have this little human head with shoulders, and this is going to be your different groups which you're coaching, and basically you can divide those people. And if, for example, if I wanted to bring someone from this group to this group, I can do that just by dragging. Another thing that I really like is if we go to, if I'm in a workout, I can actually move this workout just by dragging it over here or move it back. One thing I didn't mention is you can go into dual screen, and I can put an athlete over here. Since we were working with another athlete, I can put one athlete on one side of the screen and have my training plan on the other side of the screen, so that when you're done looking at the dashboard and you're done analyzing the athlete's annual training plan, usually you have a good idea of what that athlete needs to do. And if you have hundreds or if not thousands of workouts collected, you can reference back to your training program, find the workout you're looking for that athlete, give it an adaptation or adjust it a little bit, and then you can drag it over to that athlete's program. And notice when I dragged it over, I did not lose it from my training plan. It actually just duplicated it and put it into his training program. But that's not a workout I want him to do, so I'm going to delete that. Yeah, so other than that, these buttons, you can move forward through the training plan a week at a time. And if you wanted to go to, 7 weeks back and look at what the athlete was doing, and then you wanted to jump to today, it'll bring you right back to where you are today. This is just a refresh button. If, for example, I wanted to take a look and see the athlete's threshold tests, I just look up tests. Because in the past, I have written a lot of different tests for the athletes to do. And I can really reference some of those swim tests that I've had him do. For example, 8 months ago, he did a swim test this day. So I can click on that and quickly reference whatever the athlete's thresholds were in the past, if I wanted to make sure I know how far they've come, or reference a workout for whatever reason. So it's always very useful. So anyways, I hope that was very informative. If you wanted to learn more, you can always go to my website, which is fastesttransition.com, and you can go into the global coaching. How does global coaching work? And you're going to see this page, and it'll give you an explanation of how it works. Also, you can go to the welcome page, which is my main page. I think I even have that open right here. And this is my home page. That's my wife, Vika, and we have lots of training plans. So if you go to fastesttransition.com, you want to take a look at the plans, go ahead and click that. I'll provide all this in the link below. If you want to see what kind of services I do, you can see, if you just want to do power analysis, if you want to do in-person training, if you just need help doing nutrition, I do it all, so we can always help you out with that. Also, my Facebook page I started, which is basically a triathlon news page, and I share a lot of successes, things that are going on in the world of ITU racing, Ironman racing. I share my YouTube videos as a petition for more, basically testing age groupers, and videos on how to. So, there's a lot of different resources that I can provide for you. A couple things. I'm going to read a review that one of my athletes gave me in the past. If you want to understand how to transform a man middle of the pack into a fighting machine, a typical business person enjoying both an awesome family and professional life, but still thinking there is something missing in the sport. If you want to understand how on earth this type of man can win 3 podiums in an age group and qualify for a half Ironman championship in 4 months, just ask Austin Mitchell. So, I can read more reviews, but I think you get the point. If you wanted to follow my Facebook page, that is facebook.com/try something. And also, finally, if you we're interested in coaching, I offer 3 different packages through TrainingPeaks. I can help you learn how TrainingPeaks works, manage your training, and help you achieve your athletic goals. I do offer 3 different services. Bronze, if you're new to the sport and you don't really care about me explaining the power analysis and the why behind it, and you just trust the plan and you want to do the plan, Bronze is perfect for you. Silver, if you want weekly updates and weekly feedback on all your workouts, and you get 1 call and 4 emails per month. And then also my most popular, which is Gold, for serious athletes. And I would only recommend that if you have some experience in triathlon and you're trying to become competitive and you have questions every day. You can always text me, and I'm available at any time, and I'll always adjust the plan day to day according to your schedule. So again, thank you so much for watching my video. If you ever need anything, let me know. Thanks again. Till next time. Later.